Have you ever had one of those moments where you wish you could just hit rewind? Go back, even just a few days or hours, and stop yourself before everything changes? I think about that moment every day now. And the truth is, I never saw it coming. Not even a little bit. When my husband told me he had to leave for another work trip, another 2-week corporate thing, I wasn't surprised. That's just the way things are now. I smiled, kissed him goodbye at the airport, and told him I'd be fine. And I meant it, or at least, I thought I did. But then, he turned to his best friend, Daniel. His lifelong best friend turned to him and said, "Take care of her while I'm gone." Yeah, and Daniel, with his usual easy smile, nodded and said, "Of course, man. You don't even have to ask." Simple, harmless, innocent, right? Pause. A long breath. My voice drops, heavy with regret. I wish I could tell you it ended there. That nothing happened. That everything stayed the way it should have. But something about those 2 weeks, it changed everything. And I need to tell you this, not because I'm proud of it, God knows I'm not, but because sometimes, when the cracks in a marriage get wide enough, it doesn't take much for something or someone to slip through. We've been married almost 10 years, we've got routines, responsibilities, a home that looks picture perfect from the outside, but what most people don't see are the silences, the empty seats at dinner, the cold side of the bed, the way I started talking to myself out loud just to feel like someone was listening. Mike, my husband, he's not a bad man, he works hard, he provides, but somewhere along the way I stopped being seen, stopped being touched like I mattered, and I started living in the shadows of our life. Daniel, he wasn't supposed to be anything more than a family friend. He's known Mike since they were kids, he's been around since before we even got married, always kind, always funny, always respectful. So when he came over to fix that broken faucet in the kitchen or offered to mow the lawn since Mike was gone, I thought this is just what friends do. But what happens when the only person who makes you feel seen isn't your husband? Voice becomes quieter, as if confessing something personal to a close friend. It didn't start with anything big, just small things, little comments, lingering looks, the kind of moments you brush off at first because admitting they mean something that would make it real, and I wasn't ready for that, not yet. But here's the thing, feelings don't wait for permission, they sneak in during the quiet, lonely hours, they fill the empty space your partner left behind, and before you know it, what was once unthinkable starts to feel inevitable. I didn't plan for any of it, I didn't want to fall, but something about Daniel's presence, it felt like warmth in a house that had grown so cold, and when things finally crossed the line it was like everything inside me screamed stop, but I couldn't, I didn't. Short silence, a breath of pain, and now I live with that choice, I live with it every single day. If you've ever felt invisible in your marriage, if you've ever longed for someone to just notice you again, then maybe, just maybe, you'll understand how it happened. Maybe you won't, but either way, this is my story, and it's not pretty. Soft warning tone. Don't get comfortable, this one gets messy. If you've ever felt emotionally stranded, if you've ever questioned the strength of your own vows, stick around, because by the end of this you'll either hate me or you'll see yourself in me, and maybe, just maybe, you'll understand how one moment, one man, one choice can change everything. Soft vulnerable tone. Shifts to inviting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to Shocking Infidelity Saga and tap the bell so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. I need to tell you the whole truth because what started with a simple favor spiraled into something I can never take back. Let me take you back to the beginning. Mike and I have been married for almost 10 years, 10 solid years of partnership, of building a life together, of doing all the things we thought we were supposed to do. We bought a house in a quiet neighborhood, we had 2 kids, we decorated the walls with smiling family photos. From the outside it probably looked like we had it all figured out, but inside it felt like I was slowly disappearing. Before the kids, I used to teach. I loved it. I was good at it. I had something of my own rhythm, my own identity. But when we had our second child, we agreed I'd stay home for a while. It made sense. Mike's job was demanding, the hours were brutal, and someone had to be there. I told myself I'd go back eventually, but eventually kept slipping further and further away, and somewhere in between nap schedules and packing lunches, I started to feel invisible. Mike is a good man. He's never been cruel, never been unfaithful, but somewhere along the way he became a ghost in our home. He'd leave before the kids woke up, come back after they were asleep, always tired, always stressed, and always saying the same thing: "I'm doing this for us." I stopped asking him to sit down for dinner, stopped trying to tell him about my day. He'd just nod, maybe scroll through emails while I talked or say without looking up. After a while I just stopped trying. Our home became quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy. You know what I mean? That silence that wraps around you. Not peaceful but lonely. Rainy days made it worse. I'd sit by the window watching the drops slide down the glass and wonder how it had gotten this way. And then there was Daniel. Daniel's been in Mike's life since they were kids, best friends, practically brothers. He was the best man at our wedding. He was the one who helped us move into this house. He's been there for birthdays, barbecues, hospital visits, everything. He's always been around. Daniel got divorced about a year ago. His wife left him. There were rumors. Some say she cheated. Others say they just grew apart. I never asked. It didn't feel like my place. But after the divorce he started coming around more. At first it was casual. A quick visit to drop something off for Mike, a beer on the back porch fixing something Mike didn't have time for. He never stayed too long, always polite, always respectful. But over time I started to notice little things, the way he'd ask how I was doing and really wait for an answer, the way he looked at me when I talked like I wasn't just someone's wife or someone's mom, like I was me. I brushed it off. I told myself I was reading into it, that I was just starved for adult conversation, for someone to see me, that it didn't mean anything. But then Mike had that trip 2 weeks overseas, some big conference, lots of late-night meetings, time zone differences. He barely looked up from his phone when he told me about it, just kissed my forehead and said, "You'll be okay. I'll have Daniel check in on you." And that was that. I didn't ask for it. I didn't plan anything. But the second Mike walked out the door, it felt like something shifted. The house felt bigger, emptier. Every creak of the floor, every ticking clock, it all just reminded me that I was alone again. And Daniel, well, he showed up like he said he would. He came by the next day to help with the kitchen faucet. It had been dripping for weeks. Mike kept saying he'd get to it, but of course, he never did. Daniel fixed it in less than 20 minutes. We chatted while he worked. I offered him coffee. He accepted. We sat at the table. We talked. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't even flirty. It was just easy. He told me he'd been struggling, said the house felt too quiet since the divorce, that some mornings he'd forget she wasn't there anymore. I told him I knew that kind of quiet, that mine wasn't from someone leaving but from someone slowly slipping away. We didn't say anything else after that, but we didn't need to. Daniel always had a way of making me feel seen, but I never thought much of it, not until I had no one else to talk to, not until the silence got too loud, not until his visits became the only thing I looked forward to in a day filled with laundry and dishes and a husband who barely remembered to call. It wasn't love, it wasn't even lust, it was comfort, it was connection, and it was dangerous, but at the time I didn't see it like that. I just thought I finally had someone to talk to, someone who looked at me and actually saw me, and that felt like everything I'd been missing. Mike barely looked up from his laptop when he told me he was leaving again. Another trip, 2 weeks this time, Europe, meetings, dinners, networking. I didn't even flinch. I'd heard it all before. He said it like it was just another bullet point on his to-do list, kissed me on the cheek, said he'd bring something back for the kids, and then he was gone. Just like that. Before leaving, he turned to Daniel and said, "Hey, keep an eye on things for me.